a terminally ill man who revealed his family would lose more than £50,000 if he survived beyond midnight on 5 April has died just weeks after the government changed the rules. Bereavement benefits. Alan used an emotional interview in The Guardian to speak out about callous and brutal cuts that dramatically reduced the amount of financial support available for his wife and children. Instead of receiving tens of thousands over a decade, the family are now entitled to less than £10,000 over just 18 months. His wife, Kate, said her husband had wanted to speak out for all those who will suffer from this outrageous policy, not just us. She added, his words were intended to inspire actual action over and above a political discussion. That's the legacy he wanted to leave. To have overturned the wrong that has been done to people. Ross Altman, a conservative peer who used to be a minister in the Department for Work and Pensions, has teamed up with colleagues across other political parties to urge Theresa May's government to change its mind over the issue. She praised Ellen for speaking out and said she would keep fighting on behalf of families like his. It is so sad, she said. His family is going to be devastated and I wish there was something I could have done. I am certainly still trying and I know there is feeling across the House of Lords. Lady Altman, who has written to the Welfare Secretary, Damian Green, about the issue, said that it was the role of peers to try to persuade ministers to think again. The peer said she supported simplifying the benefits system and believed that the best way out of poverty was through work. But she said that families in this situation had suffered a life trauma and needed support. Altman argued that statements from Princess Harry and William had underlined the impact losing a parent could have on children long beyond the 18 months the benefit will cover. Speaking to The Guardian days before the change took place, Alan who was using a pseudonym to protect his family said, "My death, on or before Thursday, changes my family's well-being to the tune of tens of thousands. It is utterly unbelievable." The father and businessman, who was forced to give up work due to his illness, realized that if he survived beyond midnight on Wednesday, 5 April, his family could miss out on tens of thousands of pounds of critical financial support over the next decade. Changes to the widowed parents' allowance meant a benefit of around £112 a week until the youngest child left full-time education was replaced by £350 a month. £80 a week, a maximum period of just a year and a half. Alan calculated his family would have received a lump sum of £2,000 followed by £58,000 over 10 years. Under the new system they will receive £3,500 followed by just £6,300 for a year and a half. A government spokesperson said the financial gap would be reduced somewhat by the new system being tax-free. Ministers had previously claimed the new system was to reflect modern society in which women were more likely to work and be less dependent on a partner's income. Tory Minister Richard Harrington told MPs the old system might stop widowed parents readjusting to life. But campaigners disagreed, with many claiming that their children were still suffering at 18 months, and the financial support allowed them the opportunity to work part-time in order to support their families. Georgia Elms, chair of Way Widowed and Young, said, We were so sad to hear that Ellen had died this weekend. And everyone at Way Widowed and Young sends our deepest condolences to his wife and family. We were deeply moved. Alan spent the last few precious weeks of his life standing up against the callous cuts. Will leave 75% of newly bereaved families worse off. Her group has campaigned against the cuts for the last 6 years, she said. And we will continue to campaign against them in honor of Ellen and all the other newly bereaved families who will miss out on the long-term support they so desperately need. Alison Penny, of the National Bereavement Alliance, paid tribute to Ellen and said, in honor of Ellen, and on behalf of the thousands of widowed parents and their supporters who've raised concerns about the changes, we're redoubling our efforts to secure a rethink on the cuts. She also called help to be made available to parents who were living with their partner but unmarried. Nancy Egleton, whose husband Matt died suddenly in 2009 at the age of 38 after an asthma attack, praised Ellen for speaking out. You can't put a price on extra 3.5 weeks he had with his family, but those days have cost his family thousands and thousands of pounds, she said. It is devastating that the result of that is so much less money than before, she said. Many widowed parents who she had spoken to felt Ellen's story had been hugely impactful. I think it must have been very hard for him to put himself forward and put his story out there. Listening to his voice was incredible, she said, urging the Conservatives to use their manifesto to reverse the cut.